morning and Jai Hind children. We are discussing the chapter transportation of materials in plants and animals. Is it? And in previous class we have explained about the herd. Is it? And with the help of the diagram, we have discussed that how the blood flows in the different chambers of herd. Alright? So I hope that you understood about the diagram of the herd and the flow of blood in different parts of the herd. Alright now today I am going to start the topic related to the blood, that is circulation of blood. Clear? So our topic will be blood circulation. Blood circulation. It simply means that how the blood is going to circulate it. Circulated means transported, move in different parts of our body. Alright, that is blood circulation. So the right auricle, which receives the deoxygenated blood from various parts of the body through the veins and relaxes to receive it. It then contracts to send the blood into the right ventricles, which relaxes to receive it. Get it? Remember that diagram of the herd which I have drawn. I have drawn that the herd is having the 4 different chambers. These upper 2 are auricles, these lower 2 are ventricles. Alright, and on the basis of the direction, this one is left auricle, this one is right auricle, this one is left ventricle, and this one is right ventricle. So the circulation of the blood takes place as the right auricle, this one, receives the deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood means the blood who have carbon dioxide. So you can say that carbon dioxide rich blood comes in right auricle. Here, so here the blood which is coming, it is of which kind? Deoxygenated. Alright. And it comes from where? It comes from different tissues, different parts of our body. Clear? So when the blood comes here, in this part, this chamber, this right auricle is going to send that blood in right ventricle. And how it will send it? By contracting. So this part will contract, just like the rubber ball. As it contracts, so whatever the blood is present, it will move downward. Alright? Clear? And at the same time, when this chamber will contract, at the same time this chamber will expand. Then this blood will collect here, come here. Get it? So please understood about this contraction and expansion of the different chambers of the herd, because this expansion and contraction is going to play the role in pumping of blood. So when this chamber will contract, the blood will come in right ventricle, and again right ventricle will contract. So what will happen? The blood moves where? The blood moves where? It moves to the lungs for removal of carbon dioxide. Understood? So first, right auricle get expand to take the blood, and when the deoxygenated blood collected here, it get contract. Okay. At the same time, right ventricle gets expand to take the blood, to receive the blood. Clear? Now the right ventricle will contract to pump the blood to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. From here, the blood is going to move where? To the lungs. This one is lung. And the name of this artery through which the blood is going is Through which artery the blood is going to move? Pulmonary artery. The name of artery is there, and you must have to know the name of this artery. Even one important thing is there that you must have to remember, as generally you knows that arteries carry the oxygenated blood. Is it not? But this is the artery, pulmonary artery, who is going to carry which kind of blood? Deoxygenated blood. It is not oxygenated blood. Okay, and except it, rest of all the arteries of our body carry oxygenated blood. Clear? So a diagram is given in your book on page number 136. So look that diagram. The diagram is very important, in which it's going to show that how the circulation of the blood takes place in our body, including heart and the lungs. So complete diagram is given there. Okay. These are the pair of lungs. We have a pair of lung now in our chest. Now, below that we have heart. Alright? Now just see that the flow of the blood. As you know that this is the right auricle. So in right auricle, what happened? The blood is going to come from the different organs of the body, and then from here it moves downward. That is in right ventricle. Again from right ventricle, it's going to move up. Where? In the lungs. It goes to the lungs. For what? For removal of carbon dioxide and taking oxygen. Here, so when this deoxygenated blood reaches to the lungs, here what happened? The arteries gets. Remember that as I have drawn the diagram to show you that capillaries. So very fine capillaries are present in the lungs, through which all carbon dioxide gets removed and oxygen enters in the blood. Here, and this blood, when it's pure, comes back to the where? It comes back to the left auricle. This is left auricle. And this one is right auricle. Understood? So you guys understood with the help of this arrow. This arrow is going to show that blood is coming in this chamber, then it is moving in right ventricle, and after that again it's moving to the lungs for removal of carbon dioxide. These two are the lungs, and the name of this artery through which the blood is going to move is pulmonary artery. Here, and the same one, the artery by which, the blood vessel by which the blood is coming from the lungs. This is the blood vessel by which the blood is coming from the lungs in left auricle. The name of this blood vessel is pulmonary vein. This is pulmonary artery. This is pulmonary vein. What the difference? Through pulmonary artery, deoxygenated blood moving from right ventricle to the lungs. From pulmonary vein, the oxygenated blood comes from lungs to left auricle. Get it? And how this blood comes here? Because at that time the left auricle get relaxed. So when the left auricle get expand, it receives the blood from the lungs through pulmonary vein. Alright. And after that, the left auricle get contract. Get it? So when it contracts, so this blood moves where? In left ventricle. And at the same time, the left ventricle gets expand to receive the blood from left auricle. Clear? And from this left ventricle, again the left ventricle is going to contract to send the blood to different body parts. Here, so through this blood vessel, through this artery, the blood is going to flow to different body parts. So this one is the structure which shows that how the blood is going to flow. Now, this blood from the left ventricle move to different body parts. Say that liver, kidney, okay, etc. All the body parts. And here what happened? Remember that diagram of vessel I have explained, the artery and veins. How the exchange of the gases takes place. The artery gets divided into very fine capillaries. Is it? So through these capillaries, the blood flows, and whatever the oxygen which is present here, it goes to the different body tissues. Alright, and at the same time, what enters in it? Carbon dioxide. And now this vessel carry the blood which is deoxygenated and goes back to the which auricle? Right auricle. Okay, so this is the process which going on continuously. Here the blood is going to move, and here the blood is going to move. So it is understood in this diagram that I have drawn that blood is moving two times. The blood is moving two times in the heart. The one movement is this one, and second movement is this one. Here, that is why it is termed as double circulation. Which kind of blood circulation we have? We have double circulation. Clear, everyone? Now you can explain about this functioning now. You can explain the functioning. Which chamber is going to contract, which chamber is going to relax. While contracting, the blood is going to move in which chamber. These all you can explain. Okay, when this chamber will contract, the blood will come here. When this chamber will contract, the blood will move to the different body parts. When this right auricle will relax, it will receive the blood. When right auricle will contract, blood will go to the right ventricle. When right ventricle will contract, the blood will go to the lungs. Alright, and here the exchange of gases takes place. Exchange of gases means carbon dioxide remove and oxygen enter. So this exchange of two gases takes place in lungs, in these capillaries, fine capillaries. And again from the lungs, the oxygenated blood comes back into the left auricle as the auricle gets expanded to receive the blood. Here, so this is the flow that takes place always. Alright, understood this blood circulation? So this diagram you need to draw in your notebook, fair notebook. Clear? And use the two color pencil to clearly show the two different kind of blood. Deoxygenated blood with blue color and oxygenated blood with red color. So you can easily understood that the two kind of bloods are going to flow. Okay. Now, come to the next topic of the chapter. And the next topic is heartbeat and pulse. Heartbeat and pulse. Alright. Children, you must have heard the word heartbeat. Okay, so this simply, the heartbeat means all the muscles of heart do not contract at the same time. As the heart have four chambers, so all the muscles are not going to contract at the same time. Is it no? So because of that, the two auricle contract first, forcing the blood in ventricle. First who contract? Auricle, upper part. And then because of that contraction of both the auricle, right and left, the blood comes to the ventricles. Okay, so at the same time, when auricle is going to contract, the ventricle is going to expand. Clear? And the two ventricle when contract, what then happen? The blood moves out. The blood moves out of the heart. From the right ventricle, the blood moves to the lungs, and from the left ventricle, the blood moves to the different body parts. Okay, so auricles and ventricles are going to contract and expand separately. At a time, auricle get contract and ventricle get expand, and then ventricle get contract and auricle gets expands. Understood now? So the two ventricle contract a fraction of a second later. There is a difference in expansion and contraction of the auricle and ventricles. So for this reason, each heartbeat can be heard as two sounds. Each heartbeat, when the auricles beat, and after just few seconds, ventricle beat. Okay, so this contraction of the auricle and ventricle is going to produce a kind of sound. Is going to produce a kind of sound. And as the two parts are going to contract separately, so two kind of sound is coming from the heart. Two kind of sound coming from the heart who have very little difference, gap, a few seconds gap. Clear? So this sound is followed by a stronger sound caused by the contraction of ventricles, and the doctor listen to this two part heartbeat. And what the doctors do? Doctors, with the help of the instrument, that is stethoscope. You must have seen a stethoscope. So with the help of the stethoscope, what the doctors are going to do? They are going to listen the sounds coming from the contraction of hearts. Okay, so this doctor listen to these two parts heartbeat, and the sound which comes from them is lap and tap. Lap tap. When the auricle get contract, lap, then ventricle get contract after few seconds, tap. So this lap tap sound is coming from the two different parts of the heart. Okay, so this one is termed as heartbeat. Heartbeat. So that you can say that the contraction of the different parts, or say that auricles and ventricles of the heart produces the sound, and this contraction is termed as heartbeat. Now, here one more thing you must have to remember, that the sounds are actually produced by the closing of the valves in the heart when contraction occurs. Why this sound comes actually when the auricle is going to contract? So auricles have valves. Valves means, just see that, the diagram again, once again I am going to draw the diagram. This one is auricle. So this auricle have this valve is narrow, it creates a sound. Clear? It creates a sound. And the same kind of valves are also present in ventricles when the blood goes to the lungs. So you have the valve present here. Yeah, so the same one is given that you have to remember the sounds are actually produced by the closing of the valves in the heart. When this valve gets closed, a kind of sound produced. When this valve gets closed, a kind of sound produced. And this closing and opening of the valve takes place continuously. Because of that, the blood is able to move to the next part, next chamber. Alright? Understood why the sound produced? The reason? Because of closing of valves of the heart. Clear? Now, when the left ventricle contracts, which one is left ventricle? This one. Left ventricle. So, when the left ventricle contracts, what happens? The blood moves into the arteries under high pressure. When the blood is coming from this one, so this time the blood have more pressure. Why? Because this blood needs to flow all parts of the body. Na? Our heart is situated here in the chest, but that blood needs to go to the foot and need to go to the head. So definitely a kind of pressure is required. Then it will reach. Otherwise it will not reach to all parts of the body. Clear? So when the blood is going to leave the left ventricle, the blood have high pressure. Clear? And the walls of the arteries are stretched by this pressure. And because of the pressure of the blood, the wall of this artery gets stretched. That is why, remember that I have told, walls of the arteries are thick as compared to the wall of veins. So why the arteries walls are thicker? To bear the pressure of blood, because the blood is coming in the arteries with high pressure, more pressure. That is why they have thick wall. Alright. So the walls are going to stretch because of the pressure. And when the ventricle relaxed, when this ventricle is going to relax, then what happened? The pressure goes down. The pressure is going to down. And the stretching and relaxing of the arteries with each heartbeat, it felt as a throbbing, which is called pulse. Pulse. There is a little difference, children, between heartbeat and pulse. Heartbeat actually indicates the sound produced by the closing of valves of heart. That is the heartbeat. And pulse, when the blood flows in arteries, okay, with high pressure because of contraction of the ventricle, and low pressure because of expansion of the ventricle. So when the ventricle gets expand, the pressure gets reduced, and ventricle get contract, the pressure gets increased. So this is felt. This pressure, more pressure, high pressure and low pressure felt as a pulse, which is known as pulse. Clear? Pulse is what? Pulse is the pressure exerted by the ventricle. Okay. So, and you can easily understand it. You can feel it, the pulse, at the side of your neck or wrist. If you put your hand here, finger here on the wrist have the artery, blood artery. So you can feel the pressure of the heart that is exerted on the arteries and also on the wrist, here, neck, on the side of the neck. Understood? But for it you have to make complete silence. When it will be complete silence, you are sitting alone and have complete silence, so you can feel it. The pulse. Pulse means that pressure increase, decrease. Pressure increase, decrease. This is not the heartbeat. This is the increasing of pressure and decreasing of pressure. Clear? Alright, children. The heartbeat and this pulse. Now, after this, there is is a simple activity mentioned in the chapter, and this activity is not the part of your activity syllabus. So I need to explain it. I need to discuss it. So just listen that. In this activity, what you have to do, you have to take a stethoscope, and you know very well the stethoscope. You must have seen stethoscope. So take a stethoscope and put it on your chest, slightly to the left side, slightly, not completely to the left, slightly left. Okay, slightly to the left side, and try to listen the heartbeat. If any one of you have the stethoscope, so try to do it. Put it in the ears and put that other end of the stethoscope on the chest here, so you can clearly listen the sound produced from the heart. Alright, and now count the numbers of time the heart beats per minute. Just go through your watch and try to count down the heartbeat as you are going to listen in 1 minute. Okay, so you can say that in 1 minute how many times heartbeat is going to occur, or your heart is going to beat, the sound is going to produce, or that blood is going to push from the heart. Alright, so you can do it by yourself also if you have the stethoscope. And now note the difference in the rate of heartbeat, and what could be the reason for this difference in the rate. You just take the observation of 5-6 people. Okay, 1-2 small children, few adults, and few old persons, and note down, make your record. So you will observe that they have little difference in the counting per minute heartbeat. Get it? Now place your middle and index fingers, but not the thumb. Which finger? Middle finger and index finger. Middle finger and index finger. Both of them where? On the inner side of your friend wrist. Wrist of your friend here. And do you feel some kind of throbbing? So you will feel some kind of throbbing. Throbbing means pressure coming or exerting from the artery present in the wrist. And this throbbing is the pulse. This is what? This is pulse. Now find out the pulse rate and ask your friend to run on the spot for 5 minutes. Count the pulse rate again and note the difference. Do you found any similarity between the pulse rate and the heartbeat? And now discuss it. So you will compare, if you will compare the pulse rate and heartbeat, so you will observe that they are almost same. Clear? And the difference of heartbeat will come because while doing the different activities, our heartbeat is going to change. Suppose if we are in relaxed mode, we are sitting, just sitting only and not doing any work, physical work. So that time we have some different pulse rate. Suppose we have run for 5 minutes around the ground and then we are going to measure the heartbeat. That time it will get increased. Get it? So this difference of the heartbeat is going to show that what? The supply of oxygen is more at the time of doing hard exercise. Okay, and the supply of oxygen is less when we are not doing any hard work. That is why the pulse rate gets, that heartbeat get increase and decrease. Clear? And same happen in case of pulse rate. So heartbeat and pulse rate, they both are going to measure together. Clear everyone? Understood about the heartbeat and pulse? Alright. Now come to the next. After this topic, we have oral questions of the chapter. Clear? So come to the answers of oral questions. This is the oral question second. We have discussed the answers of oral question first now. Now this is the oral question second, and the question number 1 is, does amoeba have blood? a question is there for you. You have to give this answer. Does amoeba have blood? So what you can say that? No, amoeba don't have the blood. Clear? Because it is a unicellular organism. Its body is made up of single cell. Clear? So it don't have the blood in the body. Now the second question is there. There are several kinds of cells in the human blood. Which one is responsible for transport of oxygen? Listen and give the answer carefully. There are several kinds of cells in human beings. We have several kinds of cells now. RBC, that is red blood cell, white blood cell, platelets and all. So out of these all cells in blood, which one is responsible for transport of oxygen? So red blood cells are responsible for transport of oxygen because these red blood cells have what? Hemoglobin, who carry the oxygen and transport it to all parts of body. Alright. Now question number 3 is, white blood cells are said to be soldiers of the body. White blood cells are also known as soldiers of the body. And why are they give this name? Why the white blood cells are termed as soldiers of our body? Because it play the role of as a soldier. You know very well the function of the soldiers now. What soldiers do? They fight to the enemies. Just like that, the white blood cells also fight with the disease causing germs. Alright, so you can say that white blood cells are said to be soldiers of the body because they fight against diseases by destroying harmful bacteria and other foreign materials. So whatever harmful bacteria enter in the body, whatever other materials comes in the body from outside which are harmful for us, so this white blood cell are going to fight with them and protect us, save us. Get it? That is why white blood cells are also known as soldiers of the body. Clear? Now the question number 4. The right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs. We have discussed today now. Right ventricle is going to pump blood to the lungs. So what happens to this blood in the lung? When the blood goes to the lungs, so what happened to that blood? Simply that blood is deoxygenated. So what happened there? Carbon dioxide gets removed from the blood and oxygen enters, combines with the blood. Clear? So you can write that in the lungs carbon dioxide is removed from the blood and oxygen is absorbed. Alright? Understood the answer? Now come to the question number 5. And the question is, if you listen to the heart through a stethoscope, as I told that, when you will put the stethoscope on the chest a little left, so you will listen the sound. So you can make out two sounds, one weak and the other strong. Out of the two sounds produced from the heart, one is the strong sound and one is the somewhat weak sound, slow sound. Clear? So what are these two sounds due to? Why these two sounds are going to produce? So simply, as I have told, the weak sound is due to the contraction of auricles. When the auricles get contract, it produces the sound, but this sound is somewhat weak, somewhat slow. And when the ventricle is going to contract, so it produces the what? Hard sound. Clear? So sound is different, a little different. When auricles contract, it produces the sound, but this sound is weak. And when ventricles contract, it produces a sound, but that sound is strong. That is why when ventricle contracts, the blood comes with high pressure. Okay? Alright, everyone? So this is all about your oral question 2. And I hope that you understood all the answer. Okay, so this is all about. Now next day we will start the next topic of the chapter. Thank you.